ल त्यो बन्द गर त यहाँ मेरो यहाँ सुरु भइसक्यो Positives to say about an opponent gains trustworthiness and voting intentions, and in advertising messages where merchandisers who acknowledge a drawback before highlighting strengths often see large increases in sales. The tactic can be particularly successful when the audience is already aware of the weakness. Thus, when a communicator mentions it, little additional damage is done, as no new information is added except crucially that the communicator is an honest individual. Another enhancement occurs when the speaker uses a transitional word such as however or but or yet that channels the listener's attention away from the weakness and onto a countervailing strength. A job candidate might say, I am not experienced in this field, but I am a very fast learner. An information system salesperson might state, our setup costs are not the lowest, however, you will recoup them quickly due to our superior efficiencies. Elizabeth I of England employed both of these enhancements to optimize the impact of the two most celebrated speeches of her reign. The first occurred at Tilbury in 1588, when while addressing her troops massed against an expected sea invasion from Spain. She dispelled the soldiers' concern that as a woman she was not up to the rigors of battle. I know I have the body of a weak and feeble woman, but I have the heart of king and a king of England too. It is reported that so long and loud were the cheers after this pronouncement that officers had to ride among the men, ordering them to restrain themselves so that the queen could continue. 13 years later, perhaps, recalling the success of this rhetorical device, she used it again in her final formal remarks to Parliament members, many of whom mistrusted her. Near the completion of those remarks, she proclaimed, and though you have had and may have many mightier and wiser princes sitting in this seat, yet you have never had, nor shall have, any that will love you better. According to British historian Richard Cavendish, audience members left the hall, transfigured, many of them in tears, and on that very day leveled her oration, the Queen's Golden Speech, a level that has endured ever since. Notice that Elizabeth's raising terms, but and yet took listeners from perceived weakness to counteracting strengths that their leader possessed the heart of a king. Once accepted, filled the troops with the confidence they lacked and needed before battle. Similarly, that she loved her subjects transcendently, once accepted this disarmed even her worthy opponents in parliament. This feature of the Queen's persuasive assertions fits with scientific research showing that the weakness before strength tactic works best when the strength doesn't. Just add something positive to the list of pros and cons, but instead challenges the relevance of the weakness. Okay. कहिलेकाहीँ स्ट्रेन्थले काम नगर्दाखेरि पनि यसले ट्याक्टिक्सले काम गर्छ भन्ने कुरा बुझ्नु पर्यो. फर इन्स्टान्स इलिजाबेथ डिन्ट सिक टु embolden to the troops at Tilbury of saying there is no one that will love you better, as her fighters had to be assured of a stout-hearted commander, not a soft-hearted one. She understood that to maximize its effect, an initially deployed weakness should not only be selected to pre-establish pre-establish the trustworthiness of one's later claims, but also it should also be selected to be undercut by those claims. Her weak and feeble woman's body became consequential for battlefield leadership if in the minds of her men it carried the heart of a king and king of England too. Scarcity. यहाँ पुगिसकेको जस्तो लाग्थ्यो फेरि पढेँ मैले. We want more of what we can have less of. For instance, when access to a desired item is restricted in some way, people have been known to go a little crazy for it. After the chain of pastry shops Crumbs announced in 2014 that it would be closing all of its locations. Its signature cupcakes, which had been priced at around $4, began commanding up to $250 a piece online. The effect isn't limited to cupcakes. On the morning of the retail release of the latest iPhone, my local TV news channel sent a reporter to interview individuals who had been waiting all night to secure one. A woman, a woman, woman who was 23rd in line disclosed something that fits this well-established point, but it still astounded me. Astounded भनेको के बुझ्ले त? Astounded. 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 OUNDED. UNDED. त्यो छडौलीलाई चाहिँ बन्द गर न. एडिटिओ हैन ASTO भनेको मैले. ASTOUNDED. Chuck it. Chuck it. Still astounded. दुईतिर ध्यान भएपछि तिमीले मेरो कुरा सुन्दो रहेछौ त. म मोबाइल हेरिराखेको बेलामा तिमी कसरी एक्सपेक्ट गर्न सक्छौ त मैले तिम्रो कुरा सुन्छु भनेर. हजुर म कन्छ हेर्नु यहाँ के भन्छ त ल छैन के यहाँको त कसरी मेटियो त के त यहाँ पनि मेटेछ अबि नमेटिकन पनि मेटियो. अचम्म त नि अनि त्यो पनि काम रहेछ आफै मेटियो त. 2021 AST OUNDD. Her weight. She had started her weight as 25th in line but had struck up a conversation during the night with number 23, a woman who admired her $2,800 Louis Vuitton soldier bag. Soldier back. Seizing भनेको चाहिँ के हो? Seizing भनेको सिज गर्नु.
के स्पेलिङ?
SEI
SEI
ZING.
ZIN.
Trade.
कब्जा.
त्यही त सिज गर्नु. Hard training. The first woman proposed and concluded a trade. My bag for your spot in line. At the end of the woman's self-satisfied account, the understandably surprised interviewer stammered, "But why?" And got telling answer, "Because the new." Number 23 replied, "I heard that this store didn't have a big supply, and I didn't want to risk losing the chance to get one. Although there are several reasons that scarcity drives desire, our aversion to losing something of value is a key factor. After all, lose the ultimate form of scarcity, rendering the valued item or opportunity unavailable at a financial services conference. I heard the CEO of a large brokerage firm make the point about the motivating power of lose by describing a lesson his mentor once taught him. If you wake a multimillionaire client at 5 in the morning and say, "If you act now, you will gain $20,000, he will scream at you and slam down the phone. But if you say, "If you don't act now, you will lose $20,000, he will thank you." But the scarcity of an item doesn't more than raise the possibility of loss. It also raises the just value of that item. When automobile manufacturers limit याद भयो तिमीलाई सबै raises the just value of that item. When automobile manufacturers limit production of a new model, its value goes up among potential buyers. Other restrictions in other settings generate similar results at one large grocery chain. Brand promotions that included a purchase limit only expert customer more than doubled sales for 7 different types of products compared with promotions for the same products that didn't include a purchase limit. Follow-up studies showed why. In the consumer's mind, any constraint on access increased the worth of what was being offered. Scarcity पनि लेख्यो नामले अनि अब कन्सिस्टेन्सी पनि लेख है यतापट्टि कि मेरो उयसमा के छ
यो पनि आएको नि गएछ
हो यहाँ के थियो भ्यालिडिटी पछाडि स्कार्सिटी होइन त अथोरिटी पनि रहेछ होइन
के छ
सोसियल प्रुफ पनि चाहिन्छ अरे एउटा कम्पनीको लागि
सोसल प्रुफभित्र भ्यालिडिटी पर्छ
पर्छ होला
त्यही लेखेको त किताबमै
कहाँ लेखेको छ
यहाँ क्या अस्ति लेखेको ठाउँमा चाहिँ सोसल प्रुफ फिजिबिलिटी
अथोरिटी
यतै यतै कता लेखेको छ कि सरले यहीँबाट हेरेर गर्नको कि सोसल प्रुफभित्र भ्यालिडिटी
सोसियल प्रुफभित्रै भ्यालिडिटी पर्ने रहेछ
अनि सोसल प्रुफै
अनि फिजिबिलिटी
यहाँ पनि छ यो भ्यालिडिटी पछि सोसल प्रुफ
सोसियल प्रुफभित्रै पर्छ भने होइन त कम्प्लिमेन्ट्स लाइकिङ
त्यो त उसभित्र होला कम्प्लिमेन्ट सोसल प्रुफ पछि के छ
कम्प्लिमेन्ट सोसियल प्रुफभित्र भ्यालिडिटी पर्यो
अँ
भ्यालिडिटी अनि त्यस पछाडि
अनि यो
सोसियल प्रुफ अनि त्यस पछाडि आएर
यो के
फिजिबिलिटी
फिजिबिलिटी छ अरे FEASIBILITY
आइबिआइएलआइटिवाई फिजिबिलिटी के अथोरिटी हो र अथोरिटी
AUTHORITY
ट्रस्टवर्दिनेस ट्रस्टवर्दिनेस अब
त्यहीभित्र के आएको
अथोरिटीभित्र चाहिँ ट्रस्टवर्दिनेस अरे
ट्रस्ट
वर्दिनेस
TRUTH
TRUST
TRUST
WOR
THY
THINESS
INES
ट्रस्टवर्दिनेस
यो
त्योभित्र अनि त्यस पछाडि स्कार्सिटी
त्यहीभित्र होला नि होइन
त्योभित्र पर्छ कि त्यो छुट्टै हो स्कार्सिटी अनि त्यस पछाडि कन्सिस्टेन्सी
CONSI
SIS
SIS
TENCY
TENCY
Normally, we want to be and to be seen as consistent with our existing commitments, such as the previous statements we have made, stands we have taken, and actions we have performed. Therefore, communicators who can get us to take a persuasive step, even a small one, in the direction of a particular idea or entity will increase our willingness. Entity भनेको के पो लेखेको थियो हिजो अस्ति लेखे जस्तो लाग्यो will increase our willingness to take a much larger congruent step when asked. The desire of consistency will prompt it. This powerful pull toward personal alignment is used in a wide range of influence settings. Psychologists warn us that sexual infidelity within romantic relationship is a source of great conflict, often leading to anger, pain, and termination of the relationship. Fortunately, they have also located a persuasive activity that can help prevent the occurrence of this toxic sequence. Prayer, not prayer in general, though but a particular kind. If one romantic partner agrees to pray for the other's well-being every day for an extended period of time, he or she becomes less likely to be unfaithful while doing so. After all, such behavior would be inconsistent with the daily, actively made commitment to the partner's welfare. Influence practitioners have frequently found the human tendency for consistency with one's prior persuasive words and deeds to be of service. Automobile insurance companies can reduce policyholders' misreporting of odometer readings by putting an honesty please at the beginning of the reporting form rather than at the end. Political parties can increase the chance that supporters will vote in the next election by having arranged for them through various get out the vote activities to getting them to recommend the brand to a friend. Organizations can raise the probability that an individual will appear at a meeting or event by switching from saying at the end of a reminder phone call, "We will mark you on the list of coming then, thank you," to "We will mark you on the list as coming then, okay?" Pause for confirmation, thank you. Because one blood services increased. Organizations that made this tiny commitment, including wording change, increased the participation of likely donors in a blood drive from 80% to 82.4%. Sometimes practitioners can leverage the force of the consistency principle without installing a new commitment at all. Sometimes all that's necessary is to remind others of a commitment they have made that fits with the practitioner's goals. Consider how the legal team arguing to the US Supreme Court for marriage equality in 2030 structured a months long national PR campaign with one man as its primary target. Supreme Court Justice Anthony Kennedy. Public opinion had already moved in favor of same sex marriage. Despite the operations
यही
nationwide,
स्पेलिङ के त कस्तो भयो
scope before the court hearings,
हजुर
the
त कस्तो
campaign
उस पातलो अर्थी लेख्नु के उस लेख्नु रहेछ
most wanted to influence Kennedy for two reasons.
छि विवाद अरे
First, he was widely considered to be the
हजुरको
one
अर्थ
to
त
cast
उसै भएन
the deciding vote in both of the companion cases the court was considering on the issue. Second, he was a frequent fence sitter on ideological matters. On the one hand, he was traditionalist, holding that the laws should not be interpreted in a way that drifted far from its original language. On the other hand, he believed law to be a living thing with meanings that evolved over time. This foot in each camp position made Kennedy a prime candidate for a communication approach designed not to change one of his
कन्क्लुजन हो के अरे
contrasting conclusion भनेको उयो के अरे निष्कर्ष
त्यही हो त यहाँ
contrasting points of view, but rather to connect
यहाँ त कन्क्लुजनै होइन होला मैले
only one of them to the issue of marriage equality. The media campaign provided just such an approach by employing a set of concepts and even wordings that Kennedy had used prior court opinions. Prior भनेको त राम्रो भनेको रहेछ होइन, prior human dignity, individual liberty, and personal freedoms rights. As a consequence, wherever Kennedy went in the weeks and months before oral arguments in the cases, he would likely hear the relevant issues linked in the media campaign to that selected set of three of his stated views. The intent was to get him to perceive his prior pertinent, pertinent legal stance, stances as associated with the pro-marriage equality position. The intent was enacted much more explicit, explicitly once the hearings began. Legal team members repeatedly developed their in-court arguments from the same Kennedy-tied language and themes. Did this tactic contribute to the court's 5 to 4 rulings in favor of marriage equality? It is difficult to know for certain, but members of the legal team think so, and they point to an affirming piece of evidence in his written opinions. Kennedy leaned heavily on the concepts of dignity, liberty, and freedom's rights, all of which they had labored to prioritize within his marriage. What? त्यो हजुर फरक परेन ए के हो यस्तो त्यही त नमेटिकन त आफै त नमेट्नु पर्ने हो कसले मेटाउँछ त्यही पनि and the concept of dignity, liberty, and freedom's rights, all of which they had labored to prioritize within his marriage equality related thinking both before and during the formal hearings. It is perhaps testaments to the durability of properly evoked commitments that in another marriage equality case 2 years later these same three concepts figured prominently once again in Justice Kennedy's majority opinion. What else can be said about the universal principle of influence? After presenting the 6 principles of social influence to a business focused audience, what else can be said about the universal principle of influence? कसैले नभएको तिमीलाई हुन्छ फेरि चुप लाग्नु यहाँ जाडो हुँदैन हुँदैन बल्ल 27 मिनेट भयो